it's happening. The love letter activation. Hi, I'm Rachel, and I want to talk to you about the love letter activation that is coming up in my Facebook group. But first, I want to explain, before I get to all the details, a little bit of the background, what inspired me to come up with this love letter activation. So the person all to blame is Mr. Darcy. So I'm going to go all Jane Austen fan on you now. So while we've been in isolation, I think it must be about the 24th time I've read Pride and Prejudice, and I read it again. And if you've read it or watched the film, then you'll know about this really pivotal moment right in the middle where Mr. Darcy gives Elizabeth that letter in Rosing Parks. And it's always struck me how momentous that moment is. Just one letter changes the whole path of where the book's going and changes perspective completely. And it really shows here the power of just one love letter. All of those opinions, all of those judgments that had been made, all that pride and prejudice that was all completely transformed just in one letter. And that is the true power of communicating our thoughts and our feelings. So my question to you is, how have you been, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, to yourself? So where have you got all of those opinions and judgments and conditions that you have placed on yourself that you know not to be true, but they're there because of social conditioning or things that you've inherited, from your family, or patterns or habits that have come through experiences and past things that have occurred to you? And how can we change them with just one letter? So there's that wonderful moment that we come to right at the end when Darcy proposes for the second time, and he says, "Darling, loveliest Elizabeth," and I bet your heart just skipped a beat. Now, can you imagine if you were saying those words and that your heart skipped a beat for you? How would that feel? And how can you fully open to receiving that? So Mr. Darcy inspired this love letter activation. So my invitation to you is, we're going to write a love letter to ourselves. Now, we're not going to sit there sadly in a Regency house with Mr. Darcy. We're going to do this through exploring movement and sound healing, meditation, conscious communication, discussion, and I'll be holding a 2-week activation which will involve guided meditations given by me, and there'll be 2 long meditations. It'll be the opening and the closing, which will be guided by the moon. And yeah, a really wonderful meditation there. And then we have 3 live sessions in between that I'll be giving on my Facebook group. And then as well as that, there'll be journal prompts every other day that will lead into those live sessions that will just take us deeper into where we're delving. And it's about creating new pathways in our love communication with ourselves. So how do we choose to communicate? No matter what's been in the past, however you've taught yourself, whatever you've expressed, felt and thought, we can't change all that's been, but we do have a choice about what we create going into the future. And we can write a love letter to ourselves now to tell ourselves how much we value ourselves, how much we care, all the beauty that we can see that we might choose not to see or might choose to ignore sometimes. And it's putting that all down, and through all the different mediums, through movement, so maybe some awakened belly dance, writing as well, and journaling if that calls to you, and some art. So that is the plan. It's starting this Friday the 5th of June, with our full moon activation. And then it's going to run all the way through up until the summer solstice. So we have a final celebration together. Then there is an invitation for a bigger celebration for the summer solstice with a goddess journey, with Sulis Minerva. So actually the goddess of Bath, so very close to Jane Austen as well. And yeah, so that's the plan, and it's going to be really, really wonderful. It's in my private Facebook group, Sisters Circle Under the Dancing Tree, and you're more than welcome to come along and join in. All of the details are there in the group. Yeah, and it'll be lovely to have you there. I can't wait for you to join us to write this love letter to yourself and have your own Mr. Darcy moment with you. So sending you lots of love and looking forward to activating with you soon.